person gets married, it's a great day. So if he got married, you did mitzvah, got mitzvah, getting married. No, his year anniversary. He got Ron's year. So we wish him mazel tov and Hashem smachot. Okay, we are on 54a in the middle of the Mishnah. We are up to the wide lines, the first of the wide lines. Bona bayit chadash, right? Someone goes ahead. I mean, the last thing we said was somebody heard bad news. We said there's the bracha of Dayan Ha'emet, right? If someone's close relative, chas v'shalom, would pass away. So that's the bracha of Baruch Dayan Ha'emet. Recognizing Hashem, whatever Hashem does, he's the Dayan Ha'emet, he's a true judge. And it's a sign of emunah that we have confidence and trust whatever Hashem does. It's good. Bona bayit chadash. If somebody builds a new house, what's the law when someone builds a new house? Or kana kelim chadashim, or you bought new kelim, new utensils, new clothing, especially we're talking about clothing that you feel a great simcha. We're not talking about that you bought, not that you bought some undershirts or socks. You appreciate you bought some undershirts or socks, but it's not, you don't feel the great simcha. And even buying a shirt, if you buy a very expensive shirt, and it's not common that you buy a shirt, generally we would not say a shech, you don't want a shirt or a pair of pants. But a shirt or pair of pants is not, you don't feel that great simcha. You buy a suit, not so much, unless you're a person that buys a suit every few weeks, but, so it's nothing, you don't feel so special about it. But if you usually people don't buy suits every day. You buy a suit, that would be appropriate to go ahead and say a shechiyanu. When you buy a suit, you put on the suit after you tailor it. After you tailor it, it's already ready. Everything is ready. It's right. Put it on the first time you wear it. You should go ahead and say shechiyanu on the suit. Meaning, we don't take for granted. You're not supposed to take for granted, the blessings that Hashem gives to you. You're able to afford a new suit. You're able to wear a new suit. And it's something that brings you nice, great happiness, simcha. So you say the bracha, Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, shechianu v'kimanu v'giyanu l'zman hazeh. First time you wear it, after you went ahead and tailored it, right? Morris will encourage to remind them to say the Berachos HaTorah. You go ahead and you say Shechianu on the new suit. You go ahead. What? Say it again. Yes, make sure you check if Shan is, especially if your Shan is, and you should know people who buy very good clothing. If the irony is, the better the clothing, the more chance it has shatnez. Because why is that? And because shatnez usually they put a piece of linen on the collar, because linen gives it a very strong, good stiff, keeps it very strong, and therefore only the more expensive suits are willing to go ahead, and the companies invest because they want the thing to look better, so they put in the piece of linen. And not only suits, all you should know, all what's it called? Canary coat of canary coat. I went to Shatner's laboratory with a canary coat. Someone gave me a canary coat to check. His coat. Right, but I presume the canal for Canal Street is all right, because the canal for Canal Street is an imitation. Was probably they don't put the shot. I'm not going. I still say you should check. I still say Nathan. I still say you should check. By the way, the canali on and Canal Street you should still check, because I don't know how maybe they do put in the shot and just to really do a good job of really imitating. What? Yes, you. This invitation was for everything. Anything expensive was probably this invitation for.
Where do you check it?
The city, I went to Williamsburg, and in Williamsburg, it's right over the bridge on Lee Avenue. That's the original laboratory for Chatnez. Laboratory means not a laboratory. It's just they take a specimen but the guy just opens it up and shows you on the spot. It takes, you go on a Sunday, they're open from Sunday through Thursday, for sure from I think 1 o'clock to 6 o'clock. 1 o'clock to 6 o'clock. You go on a Sunday and you go for a trip. You're with your wife. You go off a pizza. So I'll tell you like this: you don't. Most of the time you can fix it. Most of the time you have to just have a good tailor. They remove the shatnez and they put something else in. It's no problem. Most of the time it's fixable. So therefore, don't. And by the way, don't be nervous. I once heard somebody tell me, "Rabbi, I'm afraid to check for shatnez. I'm going to lose my. I won't be able to wear the clothes." Don't worry about it. It's worth it for you. Whatever happens, it's worth it. You want to do the right thing. This is one of the mitzvot of the Torah, one of the 613 mitzvot. It's a very serious mitzvah. It's called obviously everything has a reason why Hashem gave the mitzvah, and therefore we have to go ahead and be on top of the game. So we go to the laboratory. You go on a Sunday, take your suits, take your car, whatever it is, drive to Williamsburg. They'll do it on the spot. It's on the spot. You know what I'm saying? They'll give you an answer on the spot. They'll show you on the spot. Hopefully everything will be good. And if it's not good, so then you'll figure it out. All right, Nathan? Don't get nervous. Okay? So I expect Sunday. I understand you're going to Williamsburg this Sunday. Yeah. You're gonna have you go buy some good bakery. There's good bakeries in Williamsburg, good pizza shops in Williamsburg. There's good shopping for your wife in Williamsburg. You'll find something. Yeah, they do an annual check here, but we can't wait for that. We can't wait for that check. Okay, so that's what we have to. Every time a person wears a garment that has shatnez, every time they wear the garment, they're doing a sin. Every time they're wearing the garment. Yeah, Rabbi Sifari spoke about it. And the guy comes on Yom Kippur and he's coming to pray to God and he's doing a sin while he's every moment of Yom Kippur that he's in the synagogue. He's praying and he's praying with a suit that has shatnez. So he's not doing the right thing. So that's something we need to be aware of. And don't be nervous. All right. Don't be nervous about it. Okay, so you buy yourself a nice watch, right? You bought a watch, right? You guys got yourself a watch. Sometimes a guy you got married, someone got a new watch, or anytime you get a new watch, a watch is expensive. It's not a $15 watch. You buy yourself a new watch, you have to go ahead and say Shechianu. You put on wear your watch for the first time. You say Shechianu on a new watch. So it's not only clothing. A car, it depends if you're single or married. If you're single, you would say a shechianu on a new car. If you buy the car, even if it's a used car, but a used car could cost a few dollars. You know what I'm saying? A used car doesn't cost $10. You understand what I'm saying? Or similarly, you buy. What's the difference between yourself? But if you buy a car for yourself, you say, that you're able to afford a car. But if you buy a car as a married man, so therefore the car is not just buying for yourself, you're buying for yourself and for your wife. Or you buy a couch, you're buying for yourself and your wife, you're married. You buy a couch is an expensive piece, right? So you go ahead and you say a different bracha. Baruch atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, hatov v'hameitiv. That's the bracha you say when we're going to see in the Mishnah. What? Why? Because Hatov is is that you did Hashem. Hatov that you did good for me, and you also did good for someone else. I'm recognizing the goodness of this time period that I was able to afford this new item, and it brings simcha, right? It says that it brings simcha. It's great simcha. We need to show, and it's an amazing thing that the Chachamim wanted us to have appreciation and recognition of this time period of great simcha that happened in our life. And we need to thank God for that. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech olam. Morning, Mr. Haber. We go ahead and we thank Hashem that we were able to merit to have this simcha. Okay, that's the halacha regarding the Shechianu. If we'll take a look in the Shulchan Aruch, regarding the laws of Shechianu, or I'll take out the Yalkut Yosef. He says regarding Mr. Haber, we're talking about the Mishnah just said that if a person bought himself a house, again, the difference would be if he built a house or he bought a house. Since you're buying the house for yourself and other, if a person's a single man and he buys the house for himself, because really it makes sense, the language of the Mishnah. The Mishnah says you say a Shechianu on a house. It used to be, the idea is you buy yourself a house first, then you go ahead and get married. You build a house, then you get married. Right? You say, why? Because you want to, if you get married and then you go build a house, where's your wife going to go if you don't have a house yet, right? So there's an idea, you buy a house first. And then in the old days, things were a little less expensive than today. People were, maybe you build the house, then you say Shechianu, that was for yourself. And then when you get married, your wife comes into the house. But today, most people, when they build a house or they buy a house, they're already married. So I would say if you're building a house, you buy a house when you're married, then the bracha you should say, in my humble opinion, would be Hatov HaMeitiv. Because that house is not just for you, it's for you and your wife. Understand, everybody? The difference, we said that the difference, the bracha Shechianu is when you're doing something for yourself. But if it's something for yourself and someone else, something that you bought that was specifically for you and someone else, so then the proper bracha is Hatov v'Hameitiv. Is that clear, everybody? No, we would. It's Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech olam Hatov v'Hameitiv. The same way when you buy yourself, like I said, a new suit, right? And if too much time has passed from the time, until when could you say the Shechianu? As long as you still feel the great simcha. If you didn't say the Shechianu the first time you wore the new suit, you can still say it the second time you wore the suit. You still feel the freshness of it. But if it's already a while already, you already got used to it already, and you don't feel the freshness of it anymore, so then you lost out that opportunity of saying the Shechianu. Is that clear? Okay. Let's continue. We'll see. Hopefully, we'll see more in the Gemara about this. Now we're in the second wide line of the Mishnah on Nun Daled Amar Aleph. Mevorech al hara'a me'ein al hatova. We're on the second line in the wide lines in the Mishnah. You see on Nun Daled Amar Aleph, the second line of the wide lines. Mevorech, Mr. Haber, do you have it? Mevorech al hara'a me'ein al hatova. We said if something bad happens to somebody, there's a bracha of Dayan Ha'emet. And we said if something good happens to somebody, right, he'll say B'sora Tovot, he'll say Hatov v'Hameitiv. So now the Gemara says, let's say something bad happened, but as a result of that bad thing that happened, something good is going to come out in the future. Let's say his field, he had his field, and his field got swamped with rain. And it really waterlogged the field, and there was damage to the field. Today, there's damage to the field because all that water that went onto the field flooded. But as a result of that, the field will produce later on good crops because the water really got deep into the soil. So eventually he's going to have something good that's going to come out of this problem that he had today. But still, if today it was bad, today you had a loss, the proper bracha is Dayan Ha'emet. You don't say the fact that something good is going to come out in the future from this. We don't say, therefore, I should go ahead and say, Baruch atah Hashem Hatov v'Hameitiv. and acknowledge the good that now. I don't acknowledge the good now, even though I know something good is going to come out from it. If I know today something bad happened today, a great loss happened today, his field was flooded today, and there was a loss today. There's a loss today. He's down. If he has nothing, he can't use the field. It's crops got today's crops got whatever ruined. He'll say the bracha dayan ha'emet. Mr. Haber, is that clear? What the Mishnah saying? Okay. Right, a car gets stolen, exactly. So then the fact that you could collect from the insurance at a later date, and let's say you're going to get a very nice payment from the insurance company, and it's worth it to you, But there was a loss today. You don't have your car today. You feel the pain today. Now I don't know in practice if we're going to say the bracha dayan ha'emet. Maybe we'll just say it without the shema malchut in such a case. Maybe it says bracha dayan ha'emet. I don't know that you will say Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam dayan ha'emet if the car was stolen, but that would be a good question. Maybe it would be appropriate to say that bracha with the Shem HaMalchut. But I don't know in practice if they actually do it. But technically, that's a great case. He lost his car today. It's a great discomfort today. He doesn't have a car to drive to work. He doesn't have a car to take his family, whatever it is. And there is a great loss today. But you're going to get a check in the mail in a few months. The proper thing to say is Dayan ha'emet. What do you mean? I'm going to get money later on. To say Tova Meitiv? No, that's not the appropriate response. Okay, so that's what the Mishnah says. Mevorich al hara me'ein al tova, and al tova me'ein al hara. Let's say something good happened, but something bad could happen as a result of that good. What's the case? The case is, let's say you found something. You found something. Let's say you were digging and you found gold underground, and you didn't report it to the government, and you take the gold for and you took the gold for yourself. But if the government finds out that you report it to the government, and there's a good chance that the government might find out, you're hopeful that the government won't find out, but there's a good chance, there's a possibility. But you're a guy that says, I don't want to report it to the government. But today you feel great about it. You feel great about you found the gold. You got the gold. The fact that later on something bad might happen as a result of that, today you have the gold. You're happy about it. You feel great about this thing. You say the bracha hatov hameitiv on such a good thing. Say that again. You're mining gold? Right, so I'm saying, again, see, we have to see the application, because the Mishnah says, on good news, you say the bracha of Hatov HaMeitiv, right? Let's see, in Hay, in Siman Reish Lamed, it says in Shulchan Aruch, it says, Reish Chav Beis Sif Aleph Beis. So what does it say? It says in Shulchan Aruch, see, he said like this: good news that's good for yourself, something that had good news for yourself, similar to the idea that we said before. Something that's private, something good for you, only the bracha is shechianu. If it's good for you and your family, that's what it says in Shulchan Aruch. Hatov HaMeitiv. And the Shulchan Aruch says, on bad news, you say Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam dayan ha'emet. That's what the. Now the Gemara continues. So it could be the case of finding the gold. If you found the gold, and that's more for you specifically, that would be shechianu. That would be the right bracha.
Oh yeah, like somebody has a kind of crop bite, something like that.
So Chanukah Tabayit, if a person has a Chanukah Tabayit and they bought, it's a new house. Some people they rented a house. So if you rent a house, if you have a Chanukah Tabayit, then the bracha will not be said. because you just rented the house. But if you went ahead and you bought a house, so then that bracha of Hatova HaMeitiv should be said. A person, if you went ahead and you bought a new house, and you're making a Chanukah Tabayit, but what I will say is the following. When should you say the people make a Chanukah Tabayit? Not always right when they move into the house. I think of Avadia writes, it's very important to do it as soon as you move in, make something right away. There's a whole thing that's very good for the house, for the safety of the house, certain things, do it right away. With a minyan,
What do you do?
you have people come over, maybe there's some people, something, they learn something in the house. In the Yalkut Yosef Kish Shulchan Aruch, he has something on Chanukah, recall he has on Chanukah Tabayit, some of the laws of Chanukah Tabayit. And that you should say the bracha then, right, when you move in. Not that you wait. Some people have a Chanukah Tabayit, sometimes the women want to plan a whole nice a whole event. But then you're already used to the house by the time the Chanukah Tabayit took place. If it takes place a long time later, so then the question would be, maybe you might have lost the ability to go ahead and say the bracha of Hatova HaMeitiv if you already got so used to the house. The hope most probably, if it's still fresh and still early on, that you made the Chanukah Tabayit, most probably should be able to still go ahead and say the bracha. I want to see if I could find right over here easily, or else I have to look up where. I know he has discussion about the Chanukah Tabayit. So maybe, oh, here it is. Hilchot Chanukah Tabayit, page 732. It's Chacham Avadia in the Yalkut Yosef. He says, Minhag Yisrael. He says it's a minhag. It's a Jewish custom to have a Chanukah Tabayit, or a new house, or you bought it from someone else. Whether you built a new house, you bought it from someone else, and you have a meal. And what's the purpose of the meal? To thank Hashem, and you sing and you have praises at the meal. Sing some songs. You're thanking Hashem. Just like when a person gets married, there's 7 days of Sheva Brachot. And what's the idea of the 7 days of Sheva Brachot? You're thanking Hashem for the shidduch, for this marriage. That's what the Menorah Tamor says. So now when you're having this great thing that happened to you in your life, that you have a new house, you're supposed to show your appreciation to Hashem. So he says the minhag is at the time of Chanukah Tabayit, the people who bought the house, they say a shechianu on a new fruit. That's what he says. See, he doesn't say the bracha tova meitiv. We have to know why not. He says you say a shechianu on a new fruit or on new clothing at the Chanukah Tabayit, and you have in mind that shechianu should cover the house as well. It should cover all the new furniture, and but he says if a person buys a house and he's very happy he bought the house and he wants a shechianu, he doesn't have a new garment, he doesn't have a new fruit, he could say shechianu. I don't know why he doesn't say why the bracha shouldn't be hatov hameitiv, because it is good for him and it's good for somebody else. So this is something that needs to be looked at. Why the bracha of hatov hameitiv is not said? Why is the bracha shechianu said on the house? I mean, it should be, according to what we're saying, it should be hatov hameitiv. So that's something that needs to be looked into. That would be a good question. So anybody who's moving into a new house, we have to research why the bracha shechianu and not hatov hameitiv. Okay, the language of the Mishnah is shechianu, but again, that should be only if it's for an individual. Now, the Gemara continues. If someone goes ahead, we're on the Mishnah, we are in the third line in the wide lines of the Mishnah. If someone goes ahead and he cries on something that's already passed, that happened already. That means there's something called a tefillah shav. The same way I can't say God's name in vain, I can't go ahead and say something that's you based for no reason, something that's senseless. So too, if I pray on something that already happened, what's the case? The mission is going to say a lady's pregnant, and the husband says he prays that it should be a boy, but the lady's already pregnant. So the first 40 days, where it says it takes 40 days for a fetus to be formed. There's a 40-day period. That's 40 days. You want to pray the first 40 days that it should be a boy. You can pray the first 40 days it should be a boy.
Yeah.
But after 40 days, I'm going to stop praying that the lady's 6 months pregnant. He's praying it should be a boy. It's already done. It's already done. Even though we found miracle that happened by Leah when she had Dinah, that Dinah was going to be a boy, changed to a girl. This is a midrash, but that's not the norm, and therefore it would be inappropriate. It's not a proper prayer. Anything you pray needs to make a lot of sense, an appropriate prayer. And if you pray after your wife is pregnant more than 40 days and your prayer should be a boy, that's called a prayer that's senseless. It's already done. Whatever it is, it is. Therefore, you should just be happy whatever it is. And then you should pray some other prayers. If your wife is pregnant, you should pray that everything should go good in the pregnancy, everything should be healthy, so on. That is an appropriate prayer. If the child should grow up to be a Torah, learn Torah, do mitzvot, be a great guy, a great girl, whatever the child might be. But not to pray on a type of whether it should be a boy or girl after already she's past 40 days pregnant. So that's called a tfilat shav. That's what the Gemara says. If the wife is pregnant for Omer Yiratzon, it should be the will that my wife, 4 lines into the white line, should give birth to a boy. That's a wasted tefillah. We don't waste tefillah. Now it's interesting, yes. What is that? They say that when the lady's pregnant. So the Mishnah is saying what? So it's not. So what is it? It's not a prayer. They're saying they're hoping. They're hoping. Maybe it's not a prayer. Maybe if they're hoping, I don't know what their intent is. I don't know. I'm not in Arabic. Is it? Are they saying you should have a healthy boy? So they're asking. So how do they know what's going to be a healthy boy or not? How? So are they just hoping? Is it a hope or is it a prayer? You hear my difference? I'm hoping you're going to have a healthy boy, but I'm not praying. Or is it actually a prayer? It's saying good luck. What? See, so I'm saying that's the question. If they're praying, if the person's saying you should have a baby boy, that's inappropriate. Because I'm asking, if you're asking Hashem, meaning if you're asking, it should be that you should have a baby boy. It should be. I'm praying. It should be a baby boy. That's already. You might be hoping that it is a baby boy. I can hope. You can hope that it's a baby boy. Right? Maybe wishing might be better than it's not. It's not a prayer. Maybe yes. It's not a prayer, right? It's not a prayer. Okay. But I want to say maybe there's a lesson we could if the Mishnah is worried about praying something that's not appropriate. How many times people pray and they don't think about what they're saying? How inappropriate is that type of prayer? We're worried about the what you say. If it's appropriate for me to pray for it to be a boy or not. So how inappropriate it is when people pray and their mind is not there. They don't even know what they're saying. That's a waste in a certain sense. That might be a tefillah that's also like a certain sense of prayer that's not very inappropriate prayer. Now, another example of the Mishnah thing. You were traveling. A person was coming home from work, and he hears there's an ambulance. Said someone crying in the city. That means there's a problem. There's crying in the city. And he goes ahead and he says, this should not be this God, this crying should not come from my house. That's also tefillah shav. meaning it's either coming from his house or it's not, meaning it already happened. Just like the type of, whether it's a boy or girl, was already there already when she's pregnant. The crying has happened. He hears crying. To say that, God, please make it that the crying should not be from my house, it's either from your house. What? You can't say, you could hope. I can hope that it's, first you can hope that it's not coming from his house. But to pray that it should not be from his house. What is he praying? Praying is, I'm praying for something that, Hashem, I'm asking you something. There's nothing to ask regarding what it should be. It's already, good morning, good to see you. It's already done, whether it's your Steve's brother, good to see you. It's already done. Steve was in the yeshiva last night. We learned last night. So it's already done. It's already done. So therefore, you could pray that, everybody should be well. Everyone should be protected from, or everyone should get, after, it's something that's for the future, not something that already happened. It's already done. I think the commentary says you could pray that if there's a cry in the house, maybe they should be saved from that cry. It means she should get better or something like that. There is an opinion that says another thing, you should have bitachon that's not from your house. If you hear something, that you hear a cry, your mindset, it could be a positive attitude. And the positive attitude, good morning. The positive attitude is that I'm happy talking that it's not from my house. But to pray to God that it shouldn't be from your house, it's already, the fact happened. Is it clear? Nathan, is it clear? Okay. And we need to be sensitive to how we ask, what we say. Now, nichlas lekrach, you enter a city, and the city, a lot of times you go to a new city, there are people, and the people try to create problems for you. They try to, maybe like what we find by Abraham, you come to Mitzrayim, you come to this, sometimes they want to put extra taxes on you. A new country, they try to take advantage. Sometimes there are people in a new country that try to make it difficult for you when you come into the country. So you pray. You're going into the city. So mispalel shtayim. You pray. There's two prayers that you need to say. Achat b'knisasa. When you're about to come in to the city, you want to come into the city, you pray that everything should go good. You should come into the city. No one should start up with you. You shouldn't get attacked. You shouldn't be pickpocketed. People shouldn't take advantage of you coming into this city. That's the first thing. It should be peaceful coming into the city. And then when you're leaving the city, you want to make sure there's no problems leaving the city. They shouldn't start, checking your stuff, creating up. You got this merchandise, you got to pay extra money. You're leaving, you bought the stuff, the taxes. We're gonna. Also, you pray that everything should go good on the way in. You pray, God, I should have no trouble coming into the land of Israel. The government shouldn't give me any trouble coming into the country. I'm leaving the country. The border controls, all that. I shouldn't have any trouble coming in. I shouldn't have any trouble. A regular prayer. God, help me. I should be saying. I should be peaceful. So I did like when you go on a road and you're traveling and you say a lot of the language is l'shalom, l'shalom. A lot of the prayer when you're traveling, you go out of a city, you're traveling by car and you're going out of a city. There's a prayer for your travels. And a lot of it is focusing on that it should be peaceful. No problems on the road, no robbers, no trouble. So you pray two prayers. One when you're about to come in, and one when you leave, when you're about to leave. Ben Azai says 4 prayers. Why? He says when you're about to come in, you first tell Hashem, you thank Hashem for the past. You thank Hashem that you've made it till this point. And then you pray that you should continue to be safe when to come into the city. Similarly, when you're leaving the city, you thank Hashem, you're in the city, you spend time in the city, you're thankful for what you've accomplished, and you also pray for the future on leaving the city. So Ben Azai says, Arba tefillot, 4 tefillot. Shtayim miknisaso, 2 prayers when you come in, Shtayim, and 2 prayers when you're leaving. When you leave. Notein hodah ala she'ava. You give thanks for the past, and the tzo'ek ala atid. And you cry out. You cry out for the future that you should be very successful. The next thing we're going to see tomorrow, about Rabbi Feinstein, Rabbi David Feinstein said it's one of the hardest halachot, that a person, when they say a bracha, on the same way, you say a bracha when something good happens to you, you say a bracha b'simcha, supposed to be happy. So even when something bad happens to the person, you're supposed to say a bracha, like we said, the dayan ha'emet, b'simcha, recognizing that whatever Hashem did is for the best. And to be happy on such a situation is a very hard thing to fulfill, but everyone needs to realize whatever Hashem does is always for the what? For the good. We always hope it should always be sweet, that we should always be able to say the bracha of Atov HaMeitiv, Ashachianu, not to have to say the bracha of Dayan HaEmet. I want to have a great day, everybody. All the best, everybody. Yes. That makes sense. Yeah, and I'll be very honored to do such a thing. Where would it be? What?
You start by like.
Even 5 minutes. Tell him it's beautiful that he came. Yes.
So we can here in the shul. We've been doing it now for like 18 months.
It's amazing.
It's like a small group of guys, like 20 guys.
That's amazing.
Have like some dinner like around 6:30 to get a sponsor each week.
That's amazing.
And then by like around 7,